So if carp shallow fishing is your thing, this is the rig you want now. This is the slapping slash mugging rig from the Jordan Holloway carp range of rig strips, and it incorporates a Mick Wilkinson cookie float, and these are my favourite float for slapping an 8mm pellet or trying to mug carp, and it's pretty much the best way to catch carp in the summer. So these little cookie floats are brilliant for it, and little wire stems, nice strong floats, and they just have enough weight in to flick at these fish. So I'm going to show you how to tie the actual rig up now. So I'm just going to place the actual rig strip over the actual rig mate itself. The one hole on the one end goes over the right hand side of the rig mate, and the actual groove in the other side goes over the left hand side. And now we've got the rig strip on the rig mate ready to tie it up. So on the actual strip itself, it says what line to tie it to. So I'm going to be using 021 power line, really strong, robust line. And to be honest, when you're fishing shallow and mugging fish, I don't think they see the line anyway. So nice thick line for this. 021's perfect. I'm just going to place it over the hand wheel and tighten him up, like so. Perfect. Just give myself a little bit of line to actually put the float on. Just going to trim the actual end of the line. Just give me a bit of crisp line to work with when I'm putting the actual silicone on the float. So I'm just going to take the silicones off and just thread the float on the line. So going through the eye first, like so. And for these little dibber style floats, I just use 2 rubbers, to be honest. One little one under the actual body of the float, like so, that's one. And then one longer one, just protruding that stem, just so it stops you getting as many wrap overs, to be honest. So those are 2 pieces of silicone. Just going to put them on the little stem, like so. And this is just 0.3mm silicone, this is. And I always use this for all my my commercial rigs, to be honest. I just think it sits perfect on the floats, and it's not too tight and it's not too loose, so absolutely perfect. Just going to thread him on the bottom, like so. Just leaving that little bit on the end, just to stop those wrap overs and stop any damage where the stem is actually hitting the line. So the float's nicely up the line now. Just going to move him out the way. And what I always like to do now is tie a little loop in the end. And I like to use one of these little census loop ties. It just makes the perfect little loop, to be honest. Nice and consistent, so I have the same rig every time. Nice and consistent loop. So I make a big loop with my 2 fingers and just put it in the little neck at the bottom. Twist it up twice, and then put this little loop in the actual groove in the middle. So there we go. Just going to wiggle him off, and it just makes the perfect little loop. And I just lube him up a little bit, like so. Just going to trim the tag end, like so. And now he's perfect and ready to actually place on the rig mate. So just going to loosen the line off. Just going to place this over this end. So the loop's on the pin end and the float's on the line and everything's perfect. I'm just going to put it around that pin on that end and just going to tighten him up. Like so. It's really nice and important to have a nice tight line when you put in any stots or shots on the line. So that's really good. And on this actual strip itself, I have my floats set in position for where I want them to for shallow fishing. So what I'm actually going to do today is just move the float into the position of the float on the strip itself. So that's the exact rig, basically. So when I unravel it off the winder, the actual float is actually set in position. All you need to do is attach a 6-inch hook length, attach it to your pole, and it's ready to go. So just going to put the actual stots on, it says too. So just 2 number stots under the actual float itself. Doesn't take many shots, this. It's quite a heavy float already. And this is where that tight line comes in. It just makes it so much easier just to put the 2 stots on. And I'm just using pliers here today. I don't want to damage my teeth putting them on. It just means I can get them nicely lined up with the groove, like so. And they just sit so lovely. So that is a really nice, simple rig. It's all ready to go. All I need to do is attach a 6-inch hook, a 6-inch hook length, and I'm ready to fish. So I'm just going to get it on the actual winder now. So I'm just going to take it off the pin end, like so. Just going to give myself some slack line by just undoing that. Taking that off. Oh, don't fall off. Like so. Just going to take the spool of line off. And what I'm just going to do is put this loop on the actual pin on the bottom of the winder. I'm just going to wrap him round about 11 to 12 times, just short of a top kit line, and then it's perfect for mugging, basically. And what I'm trying to do is just not move that float out of the position. Just have to a little bit, just to get him on the winder, like so. And then just wrap it around about 11 times, just short of a top kit's worth of line for me, that is. And I think that's perfect for my mugging shallow rig. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Just give myself a little bit to work with. I'm just going to tie myself a big overhand loop now over the corner of the winder. And this is what I just attached to my elastic, to be honest. Don't need a little small loop on this end, so nice double overhand loop. Moisten him up, wet him up, like so. Just trim that tag end and just put it on the actual corner of the winder, like so. So now that rig is pretty much ready to go, and this is the perfect shallow mugging rig for carp. And if you want to get hold of this strip, it's available from the Rigmate store at www.rigmate.co.uk.